So I chose to do the topic of what is the student midwife's assistant slash assistant's role in assisting with emergency situations that might arise at the birth, and what are the most important communication skills. So there are multiple things that a midwife assistant or student midwife could be asked to do in an emergency situation. It could be, for example, like draw the pit, set up an IV, call 911, explain to family members what's going on, why are they leaving the birth center suddenly, and maybe an ambulance has to come, and it may also be keeping the mother calm or explaining to the mother, providing that emotional support for her, because it can be a very scary time if the midwife is working on the baby, just to stay there with the mother and explain and be her support system. So yes, it can vary. It can be very minimal, like sitting with the client, or it can be very extensive as calling 911. Also, something that could happen is the assistant is the charter. So that way the assistant is charting all the things while they're happening. So later, when it's time to go back and review the chart or review the case, the notes and the charts are so explicit that it is very, very beneficial to review this case now, because you can truly see what happened when and what midwife called what and how was the client, so that you can better yourself for the next situation. This is not always possible to have someone just explicitly charting, but definitely advantageous. So, rather than going in and filling the blanks of what happened, it happened and when it happened. Communication skills at this time, of course, are so essential. They can vary as far as importance, though. In my opinion, I think listening and being aware of how your preceptor works is what's most important. If you know her protocol and you see her going for step 1, then you can follow up with step 2. So, for example, if my preceptor is talking to a client like, hey, you're hemorrhaging, it's time for Pitocin, I can stand up and I can get that ready for her. So being aware, that would be the first thing. And I think the second thing is listening. In an emergency situation, things can change and things can change quickly. So the midwife may devise a different plan depending on this particular client and her particular situation. So what I think may come next, she may ask me to do something else. But if I'm not listening and I'm not paying attention and being on my best, awareness game, then I may not hear that. So it's just important to listen, and to listen clearly to what she's saying. Did she tell me what herb did she tell me to grab? Did I grab the one that I always think she grabs? Or did she tell me something different this time because it's specific to this client? So stuff like that. Just awareness and critical listening rather than critical thinking.